Right now on KGW News, a high-stakes debate.
Kamala Harris. Let's have a good debate.
Nice to see you. Have fun.
Thank you.
First impressions from the first and maybe only Harris versus Trump presidential face-off. Plus,
I think everybody was shocked. Everybody.
As a youth cheer coach faces charges he sexually abused children. Then, why the owner of a beloved Portland Taqueria is closing up shop after decades in business.
For the most part, the public loves us, and that's a nice feeling. That maybe is my legacy.
And later, where the Ducks and the Beavers are finding motivation as their historic rivalry game enters a new era.
This is a fun game for the state of Oregon. It's certainly a fun game for our players.
And which I know will be just a great environment and a true home field advantage.
A very good evening, and thanks so much for joining us. I'm David Molko. Moments ago, Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump squared off in Philadelphia in their first and potentially only debate, one that was arguably nearly as much about who they are and what they represent than their plans for the next 4 years. It was their first ever in-person meeting, with the vice president choosing to cross the stage to shake the former president's hand. There was no audience in the hall, just the ABC News moderators asking questions and in some spots fact-checking the candidates. And right out of the gate, the topic was the American economy.
Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression. Donald Trump left us the worst public health epidemic in a century. Donald Trump left us the worst attack on our democracy since the Civil War. And what we have done is clean up Donald Trump's mess. What we have done and what I intend to do is build on what we know are the aspirations and the hopes of the American people.
In response, Trump touted his record both before and during the pandemic.
Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic, and the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in.
Well, also on the table, abortion, immigration, January 6th, race and policy when it comes to Israel and the war in Gaza, though at times the debate turned intensely personal. Here's how Harris addressed Trump's false claims that the 2020 election was stolen.
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that.
Well, meanwhile, Trump responded by trying to drive a wedge between President Biden and his vice president.
You got no votes. He got 14 million votes. What you did, you talk about a threat to democracy. He got 14 million votes and they threw him out of office. And you know what? I'll give you a little secret. He hates her. He can't stand her.
All right, that is just a quick overview. We'll have much more tonight on KGW News at 11, including a Verify fact-checking some of the biggest claims from this presidential debate. Meanwhile, the candidates for Washington governor are facing off right now. That debate hosted by our Seattle sister station, King 5. It's just getting underway between Attorney General and Democrat Bob Ferguson and Republican and former Congressman Dave Reichert. And you can check it out live on KGW.com or on our streaming app, that is KGW Plus. We'll also have a recap tonight on KGW News at 11. We want to get to some breaking news now in Northeast Portland, where police say a person is dead after a shooting this evening in the Lloyd district. This was reported around 5:30 near Northeast Grand and 6th. Police say the shooter had taken off by the time they arrived. No word on any suspect or suspects. Developing this evening, a youth cheer coach in St. Helens has been arrested and charged with multiple counts of sexual abuse of minors, and police say they believe there could be more victims. Blair Best has the latest.
This has really come as a shock to the St. Helens community. We're told that this gym, Vault Elite, is one of the few places local kids spend a lot of time. Classes are still running as the investigation that's rattled this community continues. This is 27-year-old Anthony Trenkler. He's in jail facing multiple charges of sexual abuse. St. Helens police arrested him Friday, September 6th, after a 3-week investigation. Trenkler was a 15-year coach at Vault Elite Cheer, a staple in the St. Helens community.
Well, we were devastated.
Ashley Wynn's daughter owns the gym, where Trenkler taught children between the ages of 3 and 17.
It's stressful.
He was the only male out of the 3 coaches on staff. He has since been fired.
It came out of left field. It really did. Because he was so loved. You know, we trusted him. We've had him in our home. And it seems out of character, but we don't know.
Court documents allege Trenkler sexually abused 3 girls, all under the age of 14. It's unclear where each of the alleged incidents happened, but Wynn believes some of the abuse took place in a storage loft above the gym floor.
My grandkids, you know, they were exposed to him too. In the cheer world, it's very hands-on, you know, so this would be a culture where it could happen, you know. Our coaches are hands-on, and so if someone had ill intent, they could do it.
That's not to say the gym doesn't try to prevent it.
When they do a background check, this is what we get back. Actually, today we're putting up more cameras. I think we got 8 more.
Trenkler pleaded not guilty in court Monday and, per the judge, is not allowed around minors.
You know, we want the focus to be on finding out the truth and having all the victims, if there are more, come forward. That's our focus.
The St. Helens police are concerned there could be more victims, so anyone with information is encouraged to give them a call. As for Trenkler, he's due back in court later this month. In St. Helens, Blair Best, KGW News.
In your headlines, the man accused of kidnapping and killing his neighbor, a newlywed Beaverton nurse, appeared in person in court today for the first time. 27-year-old Bryce Schubert is charged with the murder of 32-year-old Melissa Jubain. Today's hearing was quick. A judge was appointed in the case. Schubert is charged with murder, kidnapping, and abuse of a corpse. He is due back in court on Monday. The Multnomah County Sheriff's Office is asking for help finding a missing teenager. This is 15-year-old Bailey Jade Lukes of Fairview. She was last seen June 14th near Southeast Powell and 122nd. She has brown eyes, and at the time, Jade's hair was dyed purple. Her family believes it may now be blue. Authorities say Jade is a frequent TriMet rider. Anyone who's seen her is asked to call 911. Well, meanwhile, the Sheriff's Office has launched a new website dedicated to helping solve cold cases, specifically homicides. Detectives say they started with 3 cases from the early 90s and are hoping that something will jog someone's memory.
Part of our selection process, we have to consider the integrity of the cases. And we felt that these were cases that were primarily only going to be solved if we got new information from the public to move them along.
You can check out the cases at the address on your screen. It is mcso.us/cold case investigations. There's also a form where you can submit tips. And we're keeping an eye on wildfires that continue to threaten communities in central and eastern Oregon. This is a time lapse from the University of Oregon's Hazards Lab of the Bachelor Complex fire. Now, much of the resort community of Sun River is now under a level 2. That's a beset advisory. The yellow areas you see on the screen here. Level 3 go now orders remain in place from just west of Sun River all the way to Mount Bachelor. By the way, in Graham County, the Rail Ridge fire has now grown to more than 150,000 acres. It continues to threaten the town of Dayville. Areas south of Highway 26, including much of the town and school, remain under level 3 orders. Officials say the fire is now within 1.5 miles of town, though they add weather conditions are improving and containment lines are holding. Matt?
Well, here's some good news for all the fires burning around the Northwest. We've got rain rolling in. It's already reached into western Washington, just now reaching onto the Oregon coast. It'll be in Portland later on tonight. I'd say between 10 o'clock and midnight, somewhere in that time frame. And it won't just be Portland. Really, much of the state will get a good soaking rain from this. We're sitting at 71 degrees right now with a cloudy sky here in town, so it's a warm night with the cloud cover. And it'll stay dry. The models want to keep it dry now. This is a recent update until the early morning hours. But look how it ramps up to nearly 1/2 inch by 6 a.m. So we are going to get a soaking rain. I would plan on a very rainy morning commute. Wednesday morning commute is going to be wet. So rain later tonight. Rainy Wednesday. There is also a chance of a thunderstorm. We'll dig into that. End of week, we'll get some drying, but there's more rain coming later in the long-range forecast. We'll touch on that too, David.
Well, it's early September, so we certainly could use it. Thank you, Matt. Oregon's Attorney General has now joined a long list of AGs across the country who want Congress to mandate warning labels on social media sites. Devin Haskins looks into why some are skeptical.
This is the defining public health challenge of our time.
It was just under 3 months ago, U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy calling social media a factor in the growing mental health crisis in teens.
That when adolescents spend more than 3 hours a day on social media, we're seeing an association with a doubling of risk of anxiety and depression symptoms.
The U.S. Surgeon General wanting Congress to take action and put a warning label on social media sites. A similar type of warning like you'd see on a carton of cigarettes.
A warning label would help parents to understand these risks. Many parents don't know that those risks exist.
But will it work?
One label is not going to solve the issue.
Kristen Culpepper is a parent of 2 kids, not yet on social media.
More information is always better than less, but really it's up to the adult in the household to really moderate and educate beforehand.
Joining in that call for more to be done, 42 attorneys general from both sides of the aisle across the U.S. In a letter to the Speaker of the House and the Senate Majority and Minority Leaders, the National Association of Attorneys General writing in favor of the warning, saying, quote, by mandating a Surgeon General's warning on algorithm-driven social media platforms, Congress can help abate this growing crisis and protect future generations of Americans. Social media platforms have come under fire recently in Congress about the effects their products have on teens.
There's the content in the app, but then there's the experience of the user. And so I spent a lot of time asking, it's like, notice how you feel when you're on it.
Ishai Busi is a family therapist in Portland. He says a warning label would help, but
people are going to walk right through it like a wet paper towel if they want to, but if it can just contribute to having more conversations about this, to pausing and reflecting and just thinking for a moment in a way that maybe I wouldn't have thought about before.
Devin Haskins, KGW News.
We want to tell you about a Gresham firefighter who was seriously injured when he ran into a burning building. He is finally leaving the hospital after more than 3 months. Spencer Tejadas was hurt when he responded to a duplex fire in late May and entered the structure thinking a teenager was inside. He suffered severe burns on more than 45% of his body. He has endured and survived multiple surgeries on his long road to recovery. And this afternoon, dozens of firefighters cheered as Tejadas finally left the Oregon Burn Center.
Firefighters did what firefighters do. And sometimes that means you always know there's a risk. You're putting your life on the line, so to speak. He literally did.
He literally did. Tejadas is moving to rehab facilities for a few weeks before returning home to his wife and their 2 boys. An investigation determined the house fire was accidental and was sparked by an unattended candle. Straight ahead on KGW News, where longtime Congressman Earl Blumenauer says he will be heading once he leaves his post on Capitol Hill. And the end of the road for one of Portland's oldest taquerias, why the owner says he's hanging it up after nearly 4 decades.
because of what I've done in local government with the city and the county, and other experience around the country, that I may, in a small way, help fashion our response to this whole new era.
A longtime Oregon Congressman Earl Blumenauer is taking a new job at Portland State in January as soon as his term ends. PSU President Ann Cudd says the congressman will have two roles, one working part-time as senior fellow and special advisor to the president, and two as a presidential fellow with the Institute for Portland Metropolitan Studies. For Blumenauer, this is a full circle moment of sorts. His first job out of college was an assistant for the Portland State president 7 presidents ago. The congressman is also hoping to work with students and faculty on transportation, water, and infrastructure projects. The proprietor of one of Portland's oldest taquerias says it's time to go. Santa Fe Taqueria on Northwest 23rd is set to shut its doors at the end of the month. Daisy Caballero takes a look back at their decades-long run.
The owner tells me that after 40 years in the restaurant business, he says it's time to close this chapter of his life. He decided not to renew the building lease for another 5 years, but rather take time to adventure with his wife and his 3 young daughters. For the last 40 years, Danny Cardoso has shared his love for Mexican cuisine in the Portland Metro.
And actually, there's even more years earlier than that, as you know, when I first initially started, when I was like 15 years old.
From selling tacos at the corner of 4th and Morrison to opening up one of the first brick-and-mortar taquerias in the city, Santa Fe Taqueria off Northwest 23rd Avenue. He thanks his mom for teaching him the ropes at such a young age.
She'd go, oh, it needs a little salt, oh, it needs a little bit of this. I didn't know she was making a cook out of me.
And boy, was that true. Danny went on to open 3 restaurants in Portland and built a family within his work life, some staying with him for 27 years. Like Elmel Sansores.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss Santa Fe, miss Danny, or my friends.
Danny took pride in all his Hispanic or Latino work crews, both at the front and back of the restaurant.
I feel proud that I think I accomplished what I wanted to do, which was really to show the positive side of the Latin culture.
And cites his success to keeping things light and inviting for workers and customers.
Wow, what am I going to miss most? I think it's the fun cooking with people. I think it's being in the kitchen.
He says reality really kicked in when he made the closure announcement on Facebook.
You know, there was a mixture of feelings of sadness and a little grief, but also euphoria at the same time.
But one thing that will remain consistent is appreciation for all his customers.
I think I can pretty much say this, that for the most part, the public loves us. And that's a nice feeling. That maybe is my legacy, is that I feel like the public loved us. And so they gave us 40 years. And they still, I think, would have given me more. It's just, I'm ready to go have some fun doing something else.
Now, Danny says that they are planning to host a farewell party for the community on Wednesday, September 25th, as a thank you for all of the community's support throughout the years. Reporting in Portland, Daisy Caballero, KGW News.
It's making me hungry just looking at it there.
Yeah, that burrito looked pretty good. This 8 o'clock newscast.
I know, right?
Yeah.
All right, rain. A lot of it sounds like.
It's on the way. A couple of opportunities for it, as a matter of fact. Let's take you outside right now and take a look at Portland. It's not raining yet, and we're still warm at 71 degrees, but it will be raining later on tonight. I'm still sticking with 10 p.m. to midnight. It may be a touch later, but you can see on Doppler radar it is raining at the Oregon coast, and that is spreading inland into the coast range of Oregon right now too. So here it comes, and this will be the first, I think, of several weather systems. There will be breaks in between to bring us rain over the next couple of weeks. It's looking on the cooler and wetter side of things. So far, only Astoria in Oregon showing measurable rain, and not that much yet in western Washington either, but we will get there. Our high was 81 today, 80 in Vancouver, 81 in Hillsborough. This will be the last time we're in the 80s for potentially quite a while. 76 up in Kelso, Hood River just shy of 80. Made 86 in Pendleton, and the hot spot was Medford again with 90 down in the Rogue Valley. So here's the weather system. You can see there's a back edge to this cloud band here, and another one there actually. So we may actually get some sun breaks tomorrow. But if you don't want to see strong showers in the afternoon, then you don't want the sun breaks, because what happens is Those sun breaks allow the sun to heat the ground, heat the air, makes the air more unstable. And some of those showers could develop into thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon as this colder air aloft comes busting into the northwest. The snow level will drop down to about 8,000 feet, which is the lowest of the season so far. So here we go with the rain, probably again about 10 p.m. to midnight, through the night into the morning hour. It's going to be a wet, rainy Wednesday morning commute. Then it breaks up a bit in the afternoon. This is Thursday, still some rain up in the Cascades, including where the fires are farther south. But then it dries out for Friday. If we look at the long-range forecast, though, I think there's a couple more opportunities of rain coming our way. This is one over the weekend on Sunday, centered farther south over those fires, which would be great, right? And then it should dry out again. So again, while we've got a few opportunities for rain, there will be breaks in between. Now, between now and tomorrow morning, about a tenth to quarter of an inch in the western valleys, but then from Wednesday afternoon into Thursday, it rolls up to roughly a half an inch in the valleys and potentially an inch in the Cascades. There's also that chance of thunderstorms throughout basically the entire state of Oregon tomorrow too. Not everybody's going to get them, but they will be there. Hey, the latest on Francine, now a hurricane, Category 1, winds of 75 miles an hour, maintaining that strength as it heads towards the coast of Louisiana tomorrow, and then inland towards Memphis and even St. Louis. We're talking as much as a foot of rain, good chance for tornadoes. It's going to be a mess down to the Gulf Coast over the next day or so. We're 71 right now, freezing level 11,500 feet. On the coast of Oregon, we've got rain tonight and tomorrow morning. Then it turns to showers with the potential for thunderstorms and highs only in the low to mid 60s. It's going to be a lot cooler. Valleys also not seeing 70 tomorrow. Close, but not getting there. Rain turns to showers, chance of a thunderstorm in the afternoon. Up in the Cascades, look, snow level, 8,000 feet. Yay. Showers, thunderstorms are possible, and only 46 for the high at Timberline tomorrow, so it's definitely going to feel cold. Central and eastern Oregon, still some areas of smoke, but only really directly downwind of the fires, showers and scattered storms, and cool here too. Pendleton 68, and that cool weather will also help the fire situation. Showers, thunderstorm possible in the gorge, west winds are back, and for Portland, rain later tonight, showers tomorrow, the rain turns to showers, high of 65. Thursday, the showers end, we get up to 70. Friday looks great, mainly sunny and 74, so good for football Friday night, Art. Going to be doing well with the forecast there.
No rain again.
And then some rain coming back in probably again on Sunday.
A good balance. We need that, right?
Yeah, it's that time of year. We should start getting a little bit of rain here and there.
All right, Art's here to talk about history in the making, something besides the presidential debate, though.
Yes, absolutely. You know, it's the 128th meeting between Oregon State and Oregon in football on Saturday. We're going to talk about what's a little bit different this year.
at Reser Stadium. A little different this time around, though.
Yeah, it certainly is. You know, it is rivalry week, of course, and the 128th meeting between Oregon State and Oregon in football is set for Saturday. This time, they'll meet in the month of September. First time that they've done that. And it's the first time as a non-conference game since 1963. Now, the Ducks are coming off a narrow win over Boise State. They had some sensational explosive plays in that game. The offensive line struggled for the second game in a row, though. They had given up more sacks in the first 2 games this season than they did all of last year. Turnovers also plagued Oregon in the Boise State game. Now it's time to move on to Oregon State. Dan Lanning says that they are looking at a team that's very solid on both offense and defense.
Very excited to play Oregon State. They've had some success these first couple weeks, done a really good job running the ball. I think they're a really well-coached team. You know, the guy playing quarterback has done an unbelievable job. We actually watched a lot of his film before because he was at Idaho. So super athletic. Their run game's really good. Defensively, like they've always been since I've been here, really sound and create some tough looks. So it's going to be a fun challenge for us.
Now, there is no doubt the run game and the ball control have been strengths for the Beavers. Oregon State ran the ball 51 times against San Diego State on Saturday, and they held the ball for over 41 minutes. That's best in the nation. The defense pitched a shutout on Saturday, but Oregon State knows that Oregon has some top-rate athletes.
They've got a collection of talent that is impressive when you look at the physical talent. So we got to do a good job of, again, being very technical sound, playing with great pad level and kind of using our physicality and toughness to counteract their ability to move around.
Now the Beavers have had good success in rivalry games in Corvallis. In the last 5 years at Reser Stadium, Oregon State is 3-2, including a win in 2022. This year's version of the rivalry game is set to kick off on Saturday at 12:30. The University of Portland has made a long-term commitment to the women's basketball coach Michael Meek. Meek signed a multi-year contract extension to stay with the Pilots. He started with Portland in the 2019-20 season and has had, after a successful run at George Fox University. His first season, Pilots won the conference tournament. The team also won the WCC tournament in 2023 and 24. They open up their season on November 1st with an exhibition game.
Well, it's going to be an exciting Saturday in Corvallis. Right back to that. So early, too. I mean, I know. Still summer, not raining. Well, kind of raining.
Well, you know what? I mentioned the weather for the Friday night high school games. It's going to be good in Corvallis as well. Saturday will be dry, and also up in Seattle for the Apple Cup.
That's right.
With Washington State and the Huskies taking on at Lumen Field. So, yeah, good weather. If you're going to either game, you will not need an umbrella, which is great. Let's check it. That's never good in a stadium. You're making the people in front of you very unhappy.
Oh, yes.
All right, we've got 65 for the high tomorrow. That's cooler than we are right now. The rain will begin probably around midnight, maybe a little bit sooner. It's going to be rainy for the Wednesday morning commute. Then the rain will turn to showers. We may see some scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon, so we'll be watching that carefully. And we'll be mainly dry on Thursday. Any leftover showers will end. There'll be some left in the Cascades. Friday dry, Saturday dry, but Sunday some showers muscle their way back in along with Monday and Tuesday. So getting into a very September roll here.
Not looking too bad, though, overall. Thank you, guys. Join us tonight on KGW News at 11. Our Verify team is busy fact-checking some of the claims made in tonight's presidential debate, plus a community cycling center that's been helping marginalized kids get their own bikes for decades now needs help to keep its wheels turning. That's coming up at 11. If we don't see you then, thanks so much for watching. Have a great night.